Hello and welcome to Dove and Chiwekalu. It's good to be here once again. And this is the second part of what we started talking about in the last episode, which is that about sex. Okay, we talked about it from the perspective of the single person. This episode, we're going to be talking about to the woman in particular. And we're talking about it from the perspective of inhibitions. What causes our inhibitions? What are those things that make women, kind of hold back and not, enjoy the fullness of who they are as married women? Okay. So I'm hoping that there's a sister, a lady out there who's listening, who has this issue and would like some kind of counsel or would like to just understand what's going on with her. That's what today's show is all about. And I'm hoping that somebody will be blessed out there. Okay. All right. Like I talked about in the first episode, I did say what sex is all about, what brought it about. And we agreed that God brought the woman to the man and they knew one another. And the word of God said they became one flesh. Okay, now that becoming one flesh is what sex is about, and it's about getting to, become one with somebody else whom you were not, with before. All right, and it's only within the context of marriage that becoming one works. Outside of marriage, it doesn't work. But we find that a lot of the times when women get married, sex becomes a problem. It's like there are all kinds of reasons why women are kind of inhibited from it, and so we want to talk about them today. As long as there are inhibitions, the blessedness of sex in your marriage can never come through. And we find, I've had a young man call me to say, my wife is not responding to me sexually, and I'm like, he's tired, doesn't know what to say, he doesn't know what to do anymore. And I'm like, okay, let's talk. I talked to him for a short while, and what did I say to him? I just talked to him about how the woman responds to sex, and that changed the dynamics totally for him and his wife. And he called me back to say everything was much better. So women out there, let us, begin to understand that this thing is what we need to cement our marriages, to make our marriages better. Can sex be the only thing? No, it's not. There are a lot of other dynamics that work in marriage. But if you can get your sex right, the other things begin to fall in line. Trust me. So, what are those things that inhibit you as a woman? One of the major things that inhibit you is, the fact, especially for believing women who lived right, who stayed sex-free when they were single, by the time they get married, a lot of them haven't adjusted or began to prepare beforehand that when we get married, sex is part of the equation. Okay? They haven't really thought through it. And so you find that, yes, sex is in the air, but if you're a woman who has been living right, what happens is that when you now get married, you need to unburden and begin to receive your new reality. You are now married. You no longer have to hold yourself back. You no longer have to, say no. You no longer have to protect yourself because it looks like there are predators out there that all they want is sex from you. The time is now past. You're now married. So what are those inhibitions? I shared in the first episode that mothers will tell their daughters, don't let a boy touch you because if he touches you, but we know that a boy cannot touch you and make you pregnant. Touching you doesn't make you pregnant. But every time a guy comes close to you, you are uptight. Why? Because you have been told don't let a boy touch you over time. So now your husband comes, he touches you, and there's a problem. Okay? So begin to loosen your mind. Let your mind become the mind of Christ concerning this issue, and allow the Lord to loosen your mind and let you, enable you enjoy this thing, this blessed thing that the Lord has given you called sex. Now, sex is supposed to help you with children. Sex is supposed to help you build a relationship with your husband. It helps you bond more with your husband. It helps you open up to your husband. It helps you, become one and become, united in thought and in purpose with your husband. When your husband has a vision for your family, if you're not having sex, that vision can never become reality. Why? Because you're not uniting. You're not becoming one. You're not knowing each other. So you need sex to have a good marriage. And you can't have a really good marriage if you don't have sex, good sex in your marriage. So you need to release yourself and release your mind and understand, yes, before you couldn't do it, but now it's okay. So when you release yourself, allow yourself to enjoy this thing, called sex. Now, a lot of the time, you find out that some people even say before they get married, how will I know that we'll be sexually compatible? That's one of the silly excuses they give themselves about sex. You discover yourselves in sex when you get married. After you get married, you make your mistakes, you try things, you talk to each other, you communicate with each other, and ultimately you build a sex life that works for you and your spouse. You don't need to have tested it or tasted it before you get married. So you need to release yourself to this new thing that God has brought into your life and allow your husband, you and your husband to enjoy what you guys have. All right. Another thing that causes inhibitions are when you've been abused sexually before by loved ones and trusted people. We find that statistics show that in sexual abuse of young girls, it's usually by someone who's a loved one, either relatives, family members, family friends, boyfriends who are loved ones. There are people that you loved, and then you expose yourself to them, and for whatever reason they abuse that. And so because of that, I have a case in point where we had a discussion with a group of women a number of years back. And it was while I was talking that one of the lady opened up and said, when she was a little girl, she had an uncle who would come to the house. And every time he came, he would take her into the room and he would lock the door. Every time she heard the click of the door, fear would grip her. So when her husband wants to make love to her and he takes her into the room and shuts the door, the click of the door immediately makes her clam up. And then it becomes a problem. So it was the conversation that we were having about it that made her realize, okay, that's why I react the way I do to my husband. When we enter a room and he shuts the door, it takes me back to that place where, I was abused as a young girl. So if you have any such experiences, you need to pray your way out of them. Even get counsel if you need to talk to a psychologist, a professional, to help you get past that. Because until you get past that, you will never really be able to enjoy your sexual relationship with your husband. It's the same thing as somebody who was raped by total strangers. It will be difficult for you to come align yourself with your husband in marriage sexually. Because sometimes you get married having all these things at the back of your mind, but you think it will be okay. And then you now get married and discover that you're not able to loosen up because there is stuff that you have not taken care of. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be totally, completely brought to the open and killed for it to not haunt you. So if you are that kind of person, you need to get help. You need to get counsel. You need to go to a professional and get counsel to help you get out of that. Okay? You need that help. Don't ignore this and don't treat it as, something that will go away. It won't go away. And you don't want it to cost you more than it can cost you. Okay? So let's do something about it. Another thing that causes a problem is unresolved issues between spouses. When a woman has an issue with her husband, it's very difficult for her to release herself to enjoy sex with her husband. Very, very difficult. So you cannot, have unresolved issues. Especially, in marriage, all kinds of things can cause a problem. It can be big things, it can be small things. Some women have experienced a lot of disappointment, betrayal, really terrible things from their spouses. And then they stay. And they're still in marriage, but they have those things creating anger, unforgiveness, bitterness, real sadness in their marriages. That kind of woman can never enjoy sex with her husband. So if there are unresolved issues, things that your husband has done to you in times past that need to be resolved and discussed and forgiven, brought to the open and forgiven, so that the bitterness, the anger, the unforgiveness is taken out of the way. Because as long as those things are there, it cannot happen. You keep trying, you just tolerate it. And a woman tolerating sex is the worst thing that can happen to a man. I was once at a function and an elderly man said, a drunk wife is a man's delight. Sexual delight, in the sense that when a woman is drunk, she's not in total control. So her husband enjoys her more. But why would that be so? Why do you need your wife to be drunk before you can enjoy having sex with her? It was so funny, but that's the way it is. That kind of woman is only when she's drunk, when she's not in control, that she can have sex. Okay? And ultimately, that relationship is going to suffer because there's bitterness, there's anger, there's so much that is not supposed to be there. So if you have unresolved issues, that's if the big stuff. It can be something as little as your husband was supposed to come and get you from work and he didn't come, and you be irritated and angry with him. That, does not work. So you need to allow yourself to forgive your husband. Whatever it is forgivable. Whatever it is forgivable. If you're going to remain married to him, then you can't be bitterness and anger. It won't work. Your relationship just won't work. As long as sex, and if sex is not happening, it's just a matter of time that relationship just continue to fragment. And the blessedness of marriage. I know a lot of couples who are married but are not happy together. They're not married. They're just two strangers who live together. That's not God's plan for you. And that's not God's intent for you at all. So to enjoy it, you have to get to that place where you tell yourself, I forgive, I let go, I release the anger, I release the bitterness, I release the unforgiveness, I release whatever it is that he has done. I am forgiven, because even though you might not have done as terrible things as your husband has done to you, you still require God's forgiveness all the time. So if you can forgive it, if you know that every day you walk in the forgiveness and mercy of God, you can forgive your spouse. You can. There's a blessedness that comes with forgiveness in marriage that you will experience, that will heal, cause healing to come. As long as you're not healed, you can't enjoy your husband. That's just the truth. And if you're not enjoying him, he too cannot enjoy you. And then you now have ripple effect of that. We don't want to go there. We just don't. Okay? So if you want such woman unresolved issues, can we bring those issues to the table? Can we talk through them? Can we talk with our husbands and say, husband, we need to talk? And, release him gradually. Forgiveness can happen like that if you have made the decision. But if you haven't, that's why it takes a long time. It doesn't take a long time once you've made up your mind that you will do it. So can we please go back to the drawing board and release our husbands so that we can enjoy this thing called marriage and sex in it, okay? Now, another thing that causes, fragmentation and, displeasure in marriage is if your husband, you are not submissive, you are not submitted to your husband. For whatever reason, you're not submissive. A lot of the time, sometimes women are not submissive to their husbands for whatever reason. A husband that constantly, disappoints you, after some time, it's difficult to submit to such a husband. But submission is an attitude, the way you respond to your husband in reverence, in admiration, in love, in respect, and giving him some kind of lordship in your life, some kind of putting him up there in your life and seeing him as your hero, someone that you need to celebrate and admire. Okay, once you don't have that towards your spouse, it will be difficult for you to enjoy sex with him. Because it's like, oh, he has come again, and once you have that attitude of he has come again, you're not going to be able to enjoy having sex with him. And this inhibits you, inhibits your relationship, inhibits the things that God is supposed to do in your life. You need to understand that the more you can have sex with your husband, the better for your relationship, the better for the vision that God has for you, the better for you as an individual, and the better for you as a couple. So, if you have that kind of attitude and it's like your husband has, you just don't, he's just not it for you right now. You need to go back to God and say, Lord, I focus a lot on the fact that we're looking at it from a godly perspective. And with God, all things are possible. So, yes, he has disappointed you. Yes, you're not, he's just not doing you. But you are still married to him. So if you're going to be married, why don't you just get the best of it all and enjoy who this person is? So if there is something has gone wrong, it's the same spirit. Go back to the drawing board and, address it. Allow God to give you reason to submit to your husband once again. Allow God to give you reason to trust your husband once again. Allow God to give you reason to, desire to, look up to him as the person who is the head of your home. Submission is not a place of relegation. No, it's a place of honor, a place of positioning for the woman that enables God to do the things he wants to do in your life. So if you're not submitted to your husband, you are missing out on what God has for you. And then the sex is zero. Okay? So you're missing out on all fronts. So if you're going to be married, you might as well be married. Allow God to help you get back to that place of submission to your husband. He can do it. He can. It's a spiritual thing. All you need to do is get on your knees and he'll take care of you. I'm so sure of that. Okay? So we talked about some of the things that inhibit us as women as we, try to copulate and have sex with our husbands. These things, when they hinder the relationship, you are not able to have sex with your husband, they hinder you as an individual, they hinder your marriage, they hinder your family as a whole. Because there's a certain spirit that cannot be engendered in your home when you and your husband are not sleeping together. It's just the way it works. Okay, God is a God of order, and if he has allowed you to be here, then be here. Don't deny yourself because of circumstances and things that are happening around you. Focus on God, press into him, and he will give you the marriage that you desire. Start on time. Don't wait until things have gone bad for 10 years and no. Immediately you get married, understand what is going on and keep wanting to go back to that place where it's happening on a regular basis. Okay? All right. So now that we've talked about the things that could inhibit you, what are the little things that you can do that can help you, put it back together again, that can help you? One of the things that we say is your physical appearance, the way you look matters. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine who said that when they were on campus, in the early days of, being believers, that the brothers always liked the girls who were hot, and, you would expect that he's a brother Jim, and that he will love his sister Jim. He will go for the sisters who were, together in terms of how they look. So yes, you are married. Yes, you have had children. Yes, you have, but try and look your best at every point in time. it matters. Someone will say, but why must it always be us? It's the same instruction even to the guys. Don't allow things to, because you are the man, you think the woman has the one responsibility to look good. No, women also find men attractive. So you too, dress up, man, young woman, married man, dress up, look nice, look your best self, groom yourself, smell nice, look right, okay? And you'll be shocked that can transform the life that you have. Have open communication about the things you're expecting from sex. Don't expect him to know. Read your mind and know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know about your cycles. So tell him about your cycles. Tell him there are times you are more disposed to it, and there are times that you are not disposed to it. Tell him that there are certain things that he does that make you want it more better than other things. Talk to your husband about it. That is why you are married. Open up and tell him what it is that works for you and what doesn't work for you. And as you keep having those conversations, you find out that you both loosen up a little more and you both can enjoy yourselves a little more. Now, another thing is that you must have a healthy self-esteem about your body. Some women can only make love in the dark. Why? Because they are fat, or they are too thin, or their thighs are too big, or they are, one thing or the other. You have to appreciate your body for what it is, how it is. Some women will never be slim, no matter how much they try. They will work out, they will do everything. They're just how slim they can get. Some women will always be a little chubby. It's their body constitution. And they will end up always having to struggle with their hips, or with their waistlines, or with their bust lines. Those things will always happen. But you must love yourself for who you are, what you are, and how you are. Okay? Appreciate yourself for who you are. If you don't appreciate yourself, your husband will pick it and he will not appreciate you. So appreciate yourself. Okay? Last thing. There's a book in the Bible called The Song of Solomon. If you are married and you have not read that book, you are missing out a whole lot. What it does, it liberates you completely concerning sex. It is actually talking about affection between a man and his lover. And it will just liberate you. So I need you to go back to God. Especially if you're having challenges in your sex life, you and your husband sit down and read it together. Or he can read that, you read it, but come back and talk about it, and you'll be shocked what God's word will do in your life. The book of Song of Solomon is a book every married couple should read together and, understand and appreciate. Okay? It tells you, it just liberates. Okay? Read it and you'll be surprised. Send me a message to say, what you said was true. You will. Okay? At some point, I was having all kinds of thoughts in my head about sex before I got married. And I was asking questions that I wasn't getting answers to because I was single. I couldn't really publicly ask those questions because it would look like they're looking for opportunity to. And the Spirit of God just dropped it in my heart. Song of Solomon. I'd never read it before then. After reading it, I said, it was like an aha moment. My eyes opened to God's thoughts concerning how I could express myself sexually with my spouse when it eventually comes. And that just did it for me. So I'm telling you personal stories so that you can know that I'm not just talking from textbooks. I'm talking from my own experience. My experience is a godly experience, so you can share of it and it will also bless you. So, you're a woman out there, you've been having challenges in your sex life. I've given you a few tips. I've told you a few things you need to look back at and ask yourself, is this working? Why is it not working? What can I do about it? We've given you the whole spectrum, okay? And so, I'm trusting that it will have blessed you. It will make a difference if you put it to use. Don't let it be the word that ends up in the sideway of your heart and it doesn't profit you. Let it profit you and let it make a difference. And of course, you know that we are on all our social media platforms are active. Dovice with Chinwe Kalu on Instagram, Dovice with Chinwe Kalu on Facebook, Chinwe Dovice on Twitter. Just tell me what you're saying. Tell me what happens to you because of the things that we have shared with you. And you'll be shocked what God can do just because of information that you have. Okay? So it's been great being here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be here again same time next week. Join us again then. In the meantime, have a good time and please make sure that you're having a good sex life if you're married. Okay? Bye-bye and see you again.